Good evening, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome back, y'all. This is the Quarantine Concert Series. I'm your host, Kabir Segal. This is show number 49. No, I do not have a life. We're binge hosting shows. And by now, you know what's going down. We've had an international crisis, an international pandemic. All the gigs have gone away. And we started this concert series just over a month ago now, and to put the spotlight back on the artists, back on the people who deserve it. They share their love and energy and mirth and just virtuosity with us. And this is the time to be there for the creative community. And so many people have been affected by this, staying at home, physical distancing. I don't say social distancing. We can still be social, but it's the artists. There's also people who are attached to the artists, the managers and the producers and the engineers. The whole creative community is having a tough time of it because all the gigs have gone away. I saw one estimate that was like a $9 billion impact to live concerts. And it seems, I got some emails yesterday saying that some gigs were canceled into 2021. So it's a tough time of it. This is a time to be there for people in the creative community. If you know someone who's an artist, reach out to them, stream their music, buy their merchandise. This is the time to, there's always been a relationship between patrons and artists. So I encourage everyone to get out there. And if you're on Spotify listening to some music, go buy some stuff from the artist. That's the thing to do. So that's what we're doing. We're here broadcasting from Atlanta. This is my parents' place from the dining room table. My mom and dad should be sleeping, but I think my mom secretly watches. So hi, Mom. And if the Wi-Fi starts to flicker, Mom, I need you to go to sleep or just get off the Wi-Fi. So I thought I'd just put that out there. The other thing is I'm from Atlanta, but I want to know where everyone else is right now. So drop a comment and tell me where you are. This is an international thing. We've had people from Thailand and Japan and Hawaii and even other countries like Alabama. I could say that because I'm from Georgia, but put a comment. Tell me where you're broadcasting from. And we want to know and get to know you guys. So the more comments you put in, I'll read them up on the screen, and we'll have our guest and the incredible Allan Harris opine to some of these comments. So that's that. I also want to give a shout out to our partners at All About Jazz, and they're a great website that's focused on all about jazz. Michael Ritchie started it in 1995. Comprehensive resource on jazz. They're chronicling about all these musicians we're losing because of the pandemic. It's really kind of a sad what's happening in this public health crisis. So check out All About Music. If you're an artist, go create an artist page. If you're a patron, go donate to them. And check out the website All About Jazz. Thanks for the feature. They did a feature. If you want to learn more about how and why we do this broadcast, I'm generally kind of reluctant to do these interviews, but I did one for Michael, so you'll get a sense about what goes on in these broadcasts. One more thing, the word of the day. What word of the day? We debuted this. Oh, before I do that, word of the day is MD. We need a lot of MDs, medical doctors out there, but there's actually a musical term called MD. What does that stand for? It's a French abbreviation, means main droit, the right hand. So when you use your right hand playing, MD. So when people are saying we need more MDs, they mean more medical doctors in the public health crisis, and the musical term is right-handed playing. So that's your word of the day. All right, so we're going to keep doing these word of the days to get the music vocabulary going. We'll go back a slide now. Also, we started a quarantine film series where we're talking to directors in the morning. So I go to sleep, I host a show at night, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, do a conversation with the directors. So we did one with Frank Licari, who did a film, South by Southwest accepted film. And it was really remarkable. His film was about Jose Feliciano. And today we did a broadcast with someone who did a film also accepted by South by Southwest on Midway Games, which created Mortal Kombat and NBA Jam. So we're trying to keep the spotlight on these artists, whether they're musicians in the evening or directors in the morning. So I'm not going to do these every day, the film series, but to stay posted to all the social media to know what's going down. All right, so where can you find us? You can find us on all social media. We're on the Facebook. We're also on Twitter. We're also on the very delicious Instagram cracker. It goes nicely with marshmallows. You can make a s'more out of it. Instagram is nice. LinkedIn is good. I know a lot of people have lost their jobs. 4 million people today, we learned to file for unemployment. So over 1 out of every 5 Americans have lost a job because of this COVID crisis. It's terrible, actually. So, but if you're looking for a job on LinkedIn, it's okay. We hope you'll join us for the next few minutes. You'll return inspired and motivated on your job search. We're also on YouTube. We're everywhere. So just subscribe, get notified, and we'll keep you in the loop with everything. So that's the general service announcements. Now for the best part of the show, where we get to meet the artists, the incredible artists. I've been a fan of this artist. Of course, if you want to be an artist on this show, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. We'll try to get you on the show. A bit of a waiting list, but I do read all the requests. So just your patience, please. This artist, an incredible artist, I met him a few years ago now, and I've been aware of him for well over a decade now. So he's a remarkable artist, talented virtuoso, master musician, composer, band leader. I mean, he goes on, and he has an incredible discography, which we'll talk about. We won't be able to talk about all of his records, but his last few have really been masterpieces. And he's been streaming on his social media, so we're going to talk about that as well. So if many of you know who he is, but if you're meeting for him for the first time, you can see more of him on his social media as well. So please welcome to the show the wonderful, incredible Allan Harris.
Well, hello. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. Tell me first, where are you broadcasting from?
I'm broadcasting from our home here. We have a brownstone in Harlem, Upper Harlem, 149th Street. And just locked down, man.
I hear you. Tell me, how has the quarantine affected you? What were the plans that you had in place that you've since had to cancel or postpone?
Wow. I was supposed to be in Denver, do a concert out there. Then I was going to go to Europe. I had a bunch of gigs in Europe. And I was gearing up for the summer festivals, Umbria, Vienna, and they all just fell through, drag. And I have a new record that I'm working on now with a producer named, might know him, Kamal Kenyatta.
Yeah, I've heard of. Have some of these gigs been booked, or has everything canceled for the foreseeable future?
Well, they say it's rebooked, but they don't know what's going on. It's everyone's just saying yes, because we're all in a fear mode, a little bit of fear. We don't know what the future might bring. Some said by July, August, but now the word is out that things aren't going to happen until at least New Year's Eve. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really like the new normal. Talking about the new normal, how are you spending your days? Like, what's the life like in the life of a quarantined Allan Harris?
Well, thankfully, I'm doing a lot of work, and a lot of things that I procrastinated on in the past 2 years, I've been able to catch up on. Case in point, my play Across the River, I have a book that my wife and I wrote, a novel, and we're finishing that. We're perusing through it, throwing out some of the scenes that aren't happening. And we've had the luxury of last year performing it live musically. So now we're back into writing the prose. Doing that, mixing, laying down guitar work and some vocals on my new record. I was doing that up until the beginning of March. Then this hit. So I was kind of paranoid just to leave the house. So I had all my guitars over at the studio. So it was just until 2 days ago that the engineer drove my guitars over here, and there's a myriad of them. He brought my guitars back here, so I'm having fun with some of them.
Yeah.
And my wife Pat, she's over there and she has office up here on the first floor, so she's just putting out fires and just making sure that things are in order when this coronavirus breaks. That we'll be first in line to reap some of the benefits. What I mean by reaping some of the benefits is be able to pay some bills.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I do want to give a shout out. Let's put a banner up on the screen. Shout out to Pat Harris, because she's a remarkable manager and probably consigliere as well.
Yes, she is.
And making that happen. And it's great you're able to collaborate. You're able to collaborate in that way. We get this question asked a lot. I'll ask it to you just to lead off. How do you navigate working with someone that you're also in a relationship with? What advice do you have to someone who's just starting that?
Well, we had the privilege of being married for so long. We were friends for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that you have to understand, especially as an artist who's very demonstrative, most artists are, they bring their ego to the table. And not the ego to beat their chest. It's just that we figure we know everything. And I've had the luxury of having someone, my mate, Pat, who's traveled the world outside of what I do. She's been with some of the most renowned people on the planet. She had a company, exercise company. She traveled from 3 safaris in Africa, Russia, Egypt, Spain. The list goes on and on. So all of those lessons that she learned from these men of letters and also these incredible CEOs that she worked with, she brought them to my table. On that note, to answer your question, how do you work with someone? Basically, you just shut up for a while. You shut up and you lay out what your plan is. In my case, musically, I lay it out what my vision is, and she marinates with it and she brings it back to me, and together we talk about what we're going to do. And of course, it's not all rosy. We definitely have our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, I'm in her best interest, she's in mine, and that's what you look at. And make each other's friends. That's the number one thing. Be
Yes.
friends first and foremost.
Great counsel. Great counsel. Well, we would love to hear a song. What would you like to begin your set with, Maestro?
I'll do a song that I wrote a few years ago, and it's a song I wrote to her of a little. We had a little impasse together. Nothing serious. My ego was in the way, and I stomped out the room. And she, in return, she left for a day. Spent the night at her girlfriend's house. This is years ago. So I wrote a song about that. Would you like to hear it?
Love to.
Okay. I woke up this morning, sun in my eyes. Another night I spent alone. Comes as no surprise that we had a quarrel. Wait, my lights. And it tore my little heart in two. So I'm telling you, sweet darling, I can't live my life without you. That night you up and left me. My little world had just caved in. It's too late in my life, little darling, to look for some new love again. So you have some pity. Would you make my little dreams come true? Would you turn your love around? I can't live my life without you. Whenever you smile at me, my heart just skips and spins and grins. No matter if we're alone or in a room of noisy friends. Lately I talk to myself, I walk around, I make no sense. Can't you see, little darling, it's you that I love. Can't you see, pretty baby, bring back that love. Woke up this morning, sun in my eyes. Another night I spent alone. Comes as no surprise that we had a quarrel, and it tore my little heart in two. So I'm telling you, sweet darling, I can't live my life without you. Can't live my life without you, baby. No. Hey, thank you. My chord was getting in the way. Did you hear that chord?
Yeah, I mean, I heard the love and authenticity. That's what I
Okay,
heard.
well, thank you very much. Yeah, the chord was in the way there.
Yeah, that came the energy came through loud and clear.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
we're getting a couple questions. I'll just keep asking you on Instagram. What and this always seems to be one of the first questions. What kind of guitar are you playing right now?
Well, I'm using this D'Angelico. D'Angelico gave this to me. I'm an artist for them. I was a Gibson artist for a while, and they approached me and said, "Well, we have some D'Angelicos we'd like you to try out." Coming from a guitarist, the old D'Angelicos, they're worth about $20,000 to $30,000. I said, "Really? No." She said, "No, we're revamping our company. We have a new models that are cheaper, and we'd like to give you one and try it out." So I said, "Okay." This is a year ago, and they've given me a couple of them, and this has become my favorite.
Yeah,
I tweaked it. Of course, I tweaked it a little bit. I had to adjust the neck, adjust the
yeah.
pickups, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
What was your first guitar? Do you remember?
My first guitar was given to me by my Aunt Theodosia, and I think it was an old Silvertone. Old Silvertone, and I was in the third grade, and I learned this. I thought I was so cool.
Yeah.
I thought I was so cool. I walked around the house doing that. Finally, my mother looked at me and she said, "Child, can you learn anything other than that?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, so she went and crewed the services of a guy named Vladimir Barbary, who was the president of the Classical Guild. And I took lessons from him for a while and learned how to finger pick. And that was my first guitar.
Yeah, remarkable. Who are some of your influences, your guitar influences? I know you're a
Ooh,
remarkable singer, but who's in the pantheon of Alan's favorite guitarists?
wow. I'll encapsulate it. I won't make it too long. There's so many, there's so many, from George Benson to Charlie Christian to Steve Vai to Eric Gale to Steve Lukather. There's just so many. Pat Martino is one of my favorites. I love him. You know, I'll tell you what. I was a child. I was maybe in the third grade, fourth grade. It was raining. Coming home from school, I went past Mr. Cook's barber shop in Brooklyn. He cut everyone's hair, and if you didn't have any money, he'd had a book and put your name in it, and the family would pay him later. Back times were rough, and it was raining, and I remember walking past his big picture window, and there in his barber shop, on the window was a life-size poster of this man of color in an all-white fringe jacket with a upside down white Stratocaster, playing in front of this incredible audience, white, black, red, a sea of faces, and it said Woodstock. And I sat there and the rain dripped on me and I was just enamored. I never saw anyone like that, really. My father, of course, most demonstrative person in my life, who was a man of color. Of course, you knew Sidney Poitier, the great Jim Brown, football player. But most of my heroes, most of the people that I was associated with in the media were either porters, Step and Fetch It, of that ilk. This was the late 60s. Mr. Cook said, "Come on in out of the rain." And all the guys there playing checkers, typical barbershop at the time. And they were listening to this record, Purple Haze.
Yeah.
I blew my mind. They threw the record on the floor. They didn't like it. They said, "I know when he played with the Isley Brothers and King Curtis." He said, "You want the record?" I said, "Yes." I took the record home. I learned everything on it. That was my first association. It was Jimi Hendrix.
Amazing. Wow. What a story. Interesting. It's good to hear you have such a reverence for him, Jimi Hendrix. And we have a question I want to ask you. Donna Scott wanted to refer back to your last. I'll put it up on the. She says, "Did you ever write a song about your aunt Theodosia? Sounds like a song should have been sung about her."
I did. I did. That's so funny. The song is called Phoebe, Aunt Phoebe, because that was her stage name, Phoebe. And she graduated from the high school performing arts with my mother as an opera singer who turned a blues singer. She won the amateur night at the Apollo. So I'm doing a song now called Phoebe, and it's a really weird, dissonant thing. And I'm not finished with it yet, so I don't want to really just fall over myself. But it's called Phoebe. Yeah, I wrote a song. I wrote a song for her just back in January. I was supposed to go out
Oh,
to Denver and finish it, but here I am.
yeah. Speaking about cities, everyone tell me where you're watching from. We have New York and Atlanta in the house. Tell me where you're watching from. Drop a comment. We'll put it up on the screen. I want to know where Alan's music is resonating tonight. So, what would you like to play next?
There's such a myriad of songs I have in my head, and but I'm glad I'm here with you. So I'm this afternoon I sat down and I went through maybe 40 songs in my book, and I pulled out. I said, you know what? It's the death of one of the greatest storytellers of the last century in America, the great Bill Withers. You know, man of color from West Virginia. Go figure. You know. And so I let's do one of his songs if you don't mind.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. Grandma's hands clap to church on Sunday morning. Grandma's hand play the tambourine so well. Grandma's hand used to issue out a warning. She'd say, Alan, don't you run too fast. Might trip on a piece of glass. Might be snakes there in the grass. Grandma's hands. Grandma's hand to the local unwed mother. Grandma's hands used to ache and sweat so well. Grandma's hands used to lift her face and tell her, she said, baby, grandma understands that you really love that man. Put yourself in Jesus' hands. How grandma's hands. Grandma's hands used to hand me a piece of candy. Grandma's hands picked me up each time I fell. Grandma's hands, boy, they really came in handy. She said, Maddie, don't you whip that boy. What you gonna spank him for? He didn't drop no apple core, but I don't have grandma's hands anymore. If I get to heaven, I'll look for grandma's hands.
Yeah.
Great song, isn't it?
Great song. Great song. The
Great
late Bill
song.
Withers.
I know.
Um, did you ever get a chance to meet Bill Withers?
Years ago, and it
Yeah.
was off the cuff. It was in an event in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they were doing something to honor him years ago. And this was the early part of the '90s, and he was pretty reclusive. He really did not like fanfare. He didn't like the tour, even though he was a remarkable artist. If you ever seen him live, and I guess he felt he had no need to tour. He said what he had to say, and he moved on. And only to the chagrin of his audiences and his peers would he ever come out every now and then. And that was just to get awards and accolades. He's a remarkable. So I met him just for a moment. I passed by a table that he was at, and I was kind of hesitant to go up on him because he had that demeanor of, excuse my language, like, don't fuck with me. But once you saw him interact with his friends at the table, you realized just how gentle he was. But that's how I met him, just off the cuff.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, thanks to everyone for telling me where you're watching from. We have Philadelphia in the house. We have Michigan in the house on Instagram. We also have Anna, who I was telling you about, Alan. She's saying, I'm enjoying watching from Hudson Valley. And she told me that she helped you with the João Gilberto song.
Anna, Olivia, hello, my dear.
What was that project? What were you working on?
It was a project called Nobody's Gonna Love You. It was my next to last album before I did the Eddie Jefferson thing, and Brian Bacchus, he produced it, and I was gonna learn the song that was familiar in my household. My mother, she loved Stan Getz and Carlos Jobim and Gilberto. She loved all that. So I decided to do that song, and he said, we need to pronounce it correctly. I said, okay, who shall we get? Well, in came Anna, and it was wonderful having her in the studio with me. She was very gentle, by the way, very gentle.
That she is. That she is. Well, let's talk about your Eddie Jefferson record. Why did you want to do a tribute to him?
Wait, let me get my glasses there, right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Thank you.
It's a great record. Yeah.
Eddie Jefferson, wow. As a vocalist, not many vocalists who are torch singers, balladeers, they stay away from Eddie Jefferson for a number of reasons. One is he has a real rough sounding voice. My Davis walk off the stage, which scares a lot of those who aren't inoculated, who are not familiar with his book. But I'm also an instrumentalist, and I hang out with a lot of bop players and a lot of young cats, guards, and all the songs that Eddie Jefferson happened to have recorded during his brief lifetime. They know all the solos from Dexter Gordon, Miles Davis, Bud Powell. The list goes on and on. So it was a challenge for me because once I've done so much of the American songbook, done a lot of pop songs, and have done a lot of things from Al Jarreau on. It was a challenge for me to do his material. Case in point, a wonderful pianist named Eric Reed was doing something at Lincoln Center with Carla Cook. They needed a male vocalist. He called me up and said, "We're going to do Eddie Jefferson. You know any?" I said, "I don't." "So what?" And Moody's Moody said, "Learn 7 more. When is it?" "It'll be next month." "Really?" I said, "Okay." So I sat, and that's where my wife came into play because she helped me with it. And I sat burning the candle all night long and learned the songs and got a very good reception at Lincoln Center. They recorded it live. And from there, I morphed it into maybe later on down the road, 2 years later, a few years later, doing a record. And there you have it, The Genius of Eddie Jefferson. It
Beautiful
was 5
record.
years later. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
It was a
beautiful
lot of fun.
record. Yeah, Body and Soul was my favorite. They're all good, but Body and Soul was my favorite track on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we would love to hear another song. What would you like to do?
Next week is the birthday of our American hero, Duke Ellington. And the Duke is just wonderful. I mean, I did a Billy Strayhorn thing, a record. We'll talk about it later. It's his birthday on the 29th. And I'm going to do a whole Duke Ellington project online on the 28th. So I'm going to do a song that was made popular by a wonderful vocalist out of Mississippi named Al Hibbler. He was blind, and but just didn't stop him. He was just wonderful. Didn't care whether he could sing or not. And the Duke took him on, and he presented a few songs. "Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me." He did that for Al Hibbler. And Al Hibbler came on just at the time that a wonderful vocalist named Herb Jeffries left. He came in the next year, and he did a song, a myriad of tunes with him. Unfortunately, it's what things happen when you're in close proximity with friends and foes alike. Money steps in the way, and he had a little money problem with Duke Ellington, and they left on a bad note, only to rejoin each other years later. Time heals. But in this interim period that he did this, he did a song called "Unchain the Melody," which was made popular by the Righteous Brothers after he did it. But what was so wonderful about that was he had a hit with it. But after that, his career fell off the mark. Why? Because Al Hibbler was really a major figure in the civil rights movement. He walked a lot with a lot of the civil rights people. So his record company admonished him and said, "We got to sell records." And he got arrested in New Jersey. He got arrested in 1950, I think it was 1962, excuse me, in Alabama. Okay. The record company said, "No, we're going to drop you." Who came to his rescue? Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra signed him to his new record, Reprise. So let me do this song for you called Unchained Melody. I know y'all are familiar with it. It's from the movie Ghost,
Great.
The Righteous Brothers, and the list goes on and on. I'm going to try it for you. But he had a very baritone voice. I loved his voice. And so did Herb Jeffries, "Oh, my love." I love that stuff. Wish I could tune the guitar. Shall I tune it? Here we go. Oh, my love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. A long, lonely time. And time goes by so slowly. And time can mean so much. Are you still mine? I can't see the chords, sorry. Still mine. I have it now. I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Lonely rivers flow to the sea, to the sea, to the open arms of the sea. I know that lonely riverside. Wait for me, wait for me. I'll be coming home. Wait for me. But oh, my love, my darling, I hunger for your touch. A long, lonely time. I need your love. I need your love. Godspeed your love to me. Hey, are you there? Hey, I couldn't see. I let the page drop.
No, it was cool. We loved it.
Hey, thank you. I love that song. Hey, thank you, thank you. Al Hibbler.
Allan Harris. There he is.
Hey, live.
See, Anna's still with us. She loves it.
Hey, Anna.
Loves it. Awesome. Settle down, settle down. They love you in Atlanta, man. They love you in Atlanta. I'm telling you.
I know that. I know that.
Where were you played? You played Atlanta? Where'd you play?
I used to live in Atlanta.
Oh, you did? What part?
I lived in Buckhead.
Nice part.
I lived in Holcomb Bridge Road, and that was where else? I lived
404. That's right.
Yeah, and where else? I played everywhere, but this was before your time. I used to play at a place called the Buckhead Saloon, Carlos McGee, the Moon Shadow Saloon. And
Okay.
there was a great jazz club called Walter Mitty's,
I've heard of Walter Mitty's. Yeah.
and all of us used to go there and hang and play and sing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved Atlanta at the time.
There was a piano player named Ted Howe. I don't know if you ever ran into him. He's a great piano player, and he used to talk about Walter Mitty's.
Oh, hi, yeah, Ted Howe.
Yeah.
I knew him with I think it's a piano player Oliver. Oliver
Yeah.
and Oliver and him used to play together.
So now we're getting into Atlanta jazz musicians. That's a very narrow. We
It
know
wa-
it.
at one time it was really happening, man.
Yeah.
Neil Starkey.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing
Niels
now.
was my bass teacher.
Really?
Yeah, he
We
would do
played
this.
together.
He would do this thing where he'd play on the upright, and then in one ear he would have a ham radio, and we listened to ham radio and playing, and then he picked up an ashtray and be playing with his ashtray on the bass. He was a
Wow.
really interesting character, but a wonderful bass player.
He was. He was. We
Yeah,
played together years ago.
yeah, wonderful. So, what are you working on? What are you working on now? I know you said you had something that you were writing.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was going to do that, but I might skip and just do that first since you mentioned that. Okay.
Sure.
It's I'm working on a thing called well, there's a number of projects. I'm doing a thing based upon my family in Harlem called Kate's Place Soul Food. My aunt, my great aunt, my aunt Theodosia, my mother's aunt, she had a soul food restaurant right down the street from the Apollo. It's called Kate's Place. If let me take these off. If you look on the album of Jimmy Smith's Home Cooking, he's in front of it. And a lot of the greats used to go in there. A lot of the stars, Duke Ellington, Clyde McFadden, The Temptations, Sarah Vaughan, they used to order their food there between their shows. And I sit there as a kid because on Sundays it was free, matinee for children a certain age. And I sit there in the restaurant and see all these greats come by. I had to be quiet though. And so I've written some songs based upon my experiences in my childhood, which inform me now. The record was going to be out in August, but now we delayed it because of this, this virus. But I'm working on that in a very perverse way. It's given me time to go back now, and now that I have time in the house to redo the vocals again, because there's some things, when it is, when you hear something, you wish you had done it this way.
Yeah.
Now I have the luxury of time to maybe go back after the virus is over and sneak in some things that I'm doing here at the house with it.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Totally.
And I'm working on my book. I'm working on my Cross That River book.
Well, I want to ask about that on the next break. Maybe you can play something. You said you were going to play it. Why don't you?
Yeah, I was.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. This is the song. Blue is Angry is a song about a runaway slave, 1859, runs away from Louisiana across a river called the Sabine River into Texas. He becomes a black cowboy. Many people don't know this, but 40% of the cowboys on the cattle trail during that period after the Civil War were men of color. So I'm singing about this, not just black folks. It's an American story. There's Native American Indians, there's Mexicanos, there's Mexicans, there's homesteaders, mail order women, disgruntled Confederate boys who are out there working on the cattle drives now with all these black folks. So this is the song. It's the opening number. It's the protagonist song called Blue is Angry. Starts with him on the plantation, then goes to him escaping to the west. So want me to play it for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Blue was dark as molasses, had hair like a buffalo, ran away from Louisiana, where he watched his folks get sold. Blue was angry, ooh yeah, he was scared, but he stole the master stud horse, rode into the wind. There is freedom for the taking if your will is hard and strong. breaking stock and mending fences, rounding up those wild longhorns. Blue was angry, oh yeah, he was scared, but he tried to settle down, Lord, and live like a man. There you go. Heard a storm was brewing somewhere way back east. They say brothers fighting brother, gonna set those darkies free. Brew was angry, oh yeah, he was scared, 'cause he knew those old slave owners would soon be coming here. Oh yeah. Hey. Why, thank you.
We love you.
Oh, I love you too.
Really
Thank
good.
you. Thanks. Thank you very much.
You guys at home, you know, the more applause emojis that you put up on the screen, I'm gonna have to every one applause emoji goes 5 seconds more of me applauding.
Oh,
How
really?
How much do you want me to applaud Allan? I could do it all night.
Oh, no, put up an emoji. Come on, quick. Put up an emoji, quick.
We have like 18 minutes. If you want to see me clap for 18 minutes,
No.
you gotta show Allan a lot more love.
Yeah, show me some love.
Show me some love.
Show me some love.
Check out Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos is giving you bouquets and flowers. He is hooking you up with the
There
love.
you go, Juan.
He's a great organist too. So
Yes. Hey, Juan,
Lydia,
how are
Lydia
you?
is checking it out. So you know, there's Juan.
Lydia Liebman. Oh, that's my girl right there.
Lydia's awesome.
She is awesome.
she's
She's
like-
gonna. Hopefully, when all this dies down, she'll be working my record. Hey.
They're back. See, check this out. Judith, guy. Juan's like going crazy here. So Juan, this one's for you. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, Juan. Please stay away from the stage. Don't rush the stage. Hey, did someone throw a bottle?
No, those are flowers. Definitely flowers.
Okay.
Juan, you got so much. You got to get out to Indiana, man, and see Juan. When was the last time you were in Indiana?
Wow. Maybe 3 years ago. I think I was doing something, a West Montgomery thing.
Yeah.
Wait, where was I? I was somewhere in Indianapolis. That's where I was.
Yeah.
It was a circle with a big. It was a big circle in the town, right down the street from the Native American Museum. Beautiful place.
Right.
And I did a show there, and the people were just wonderful there. Really wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah,
They are.
I've
They
been
are.
there for a while.
Absolutely. Question coming in. We get this one a lot too. So you work with so many great artists. Do you have sort of a dream collaboration, someone that you would like to work with but haven't yet? You can put that into the universe.
Yeah, wow. Let me think who I would like to work with. I like to sing a song with Cecile.
Cecile, if you're listening.
I would love to sing a song with her because the pianist and the composer that she's duet with is just phenomenal.
Who's
Sullivan
that?
Fortney.
Sullivan? Who's that?
He's yeah, Sullivan. He's just
Yeah.
incredible, and I'd like him to come on board too. We had a chance to do something together, but I remember we were going to do a show together, but he had another gig which was conflicting. No big deal, but I would like to do something with her. I would, and I would walk in there with because she does so much, same as I do, as far as her repertoire.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even plan nothing. I would just hang out with her for about a couple of days, and we just bump into songs and come up with something.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to send this video to Ed, her manager, and say, let's hook it up, let's make it happen, and see what happens.
Wonderful.
But that would be a dream collaboration.
I know.
Yeah. What are you listening to these days in terms of music? What's on the Allan Harris playlist besides your own stuff, which I know is awesome? What are you listening
Oh
to?
boy, oh boy, there's so much stuff. Oh my goodness. I steal some old Steely Dan. I'll put on. I'll do some Joyous Lake. One of my favorite albums, Joyous Lake by Pat Martino. I can listen to it all day long. My wife, she gets tired of it. She says, "Stop it." It varies on. My discography downstairs is just so vast. It depends on the mood that I'm in, and it also depends on the mood that my wife is in.
Yeah.
Her knowledge of what to play is just as vast as mine. We've been together for so long,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we don't, which is really good. We don't bicker about what we're going to play. Whatever we listen to is we read each other's mood. We'll put on some Marvin Gaye 1 minute, "I Want You." The next minute she'll do Romeo and Juliet from Hubert Laws, some Tchaikovsky's next, or it varies,
Yeah.
From Gregory Porter. We'll go through a period where we just play vocalists, Gregory, Kurt
100%.
Elling, and yeah, it varies, man.
Donna
It
Scott
varies.
wants to know your favorite Steely Dan song.
Oh my God, my favorite Steely Dan song. Whew. There's so many, all the way up until Asia. Oh, my favorite Steely Dan song as a guitarist, my favorite song is my school days, old school days.
Old School Days.
I remember the guitar work that Jeff Skunk Baxter does on that is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
I'm going to ask you. You
I
mentioned-
recorded a song.
Oh, you did?
What song did I record, Pat? I can't remember. I recorded a Steely Dan song. Never seen you looking so bad, my funky one. Any Major Dude. It's on my album, the Dora Lease album that she did with me. I did Any Major Dude. Wonderful arrangement by this pianist, a friend of mine named Pascal Leboeuf, the Leboeuf brothers.
Yeah, I know
He
about
did
that.
he did an arrangement of that Any Major Dude for me, and it's just wonderful. Check it out. It's
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
I know. Actually, know Remy's. I don't know Pascal, but you tell me about the book because you mentioned that a couple of times. What's the book about?
The book is about the saga of this runaway slave.
Oh, yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah, that's what it is, and it takes them all the way up until the 1885 when the cattle drives only lasted 20 years, and
Got
it takes up right to the end of that, and it includes a lot of characters. Basically, it's an American story. It shows how
Yes.
we built this place together. That's the
Look,
book.
you have a title for it? Working title?
Yes, it's called Cross That River. Cross That River. That's the name of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right, we'd love to hear. I think maybe one more.
Okay. I'm gonna look at my wife. I just did, but Blue was angry. My wife is there. She's giving
Shout
me
out
the-
to Pat. Let's put Pat
Yeah.
Harris back up on the screen. Get the banner up.
Hey,
This is her moment of being a consigliere again.
she's like a dawn. She's more. She's better than a consigliere because she will kill me. That's the difference, you see, because she can get me killed.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do. You know what? I'm gonna do the theme song of the whole thing called "Cross That River." Okay.
Great.
But before I go off, I just want to say thank you ever so much for having me. This is a wonderful thing you're doing
Thank you.
for us artists to have someone that's a conduit to just let us show our wares and to express what we're about is just it's more than life-giving. It's just loving. Thank you ever so much, man.
Oh,
I mean
very
that.
kind of you.
I really
Thank you.
mean that.
Thank you.
Mama said a white man be coming in that morning, gonna drag Big Daddy away. Sold him to the next farm, gonna breed him to the slaves there. I guess that's where he's gonna stay. They took baby sister up to that big house, learn her to cook and mend the things. Sometimes in the late night, underneath that staircase, sister rocks herself to sleep. They say there's an old man, he'll take you across that river. Nobody knows his name. Sometimes around a full moon, better make it to that river. Hide along the bank till he whispers your name. Cross that river. I know there's a free place where across that river, where those wild ponies run and play. One day I'm gonna get there, if it takes me a lifetime of being a slave. God bless you, man.
Yeah, awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So good.
Thank you.
So good.
Thank you.
Let me make sure that we give you the royal treatment here.
Hey, I like the real treatment. I like that. I like that. Thank you, thank you. Oh, wow, flowers. I love it. Flowers and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There it is. My mom's fake flowers.
I love this. It's great. I got flowers, an audience. What more could I want? Hey. Good night, Atlanta. Good night, Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
Claudia, look at this. Got some flowers from Claudia. You got some flowers. These are emoji flowers. Check that out.
Probably
Juan's back in there.
Wow.
Last one. We got some.
Feel like I'm on stage with Fish.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
I also have to put those flowers back perfectly, otherwise my mom's like, "Did you do something with the flowers last night?"
Yeah, you better not do it. She'll mess up your internet.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that is the maestro, Allan Harris. Go to his website, allanharris.com. Check him out on Spotify. Stream the music, buy the music, and just he has a book. He's writing a book. He has a new record he's working on. When life resumes, you really got to see him live. I mean, this is great too. It's nice to be able to interact with him like this. But he has, as you can see, he has great presence, stage presence. You got to see him live and make it a point. And also, one thing good about your website and also Spotify, you update your events, and you're one of the. I got to say this: you're one of the best communicators in the business. Like, I know what you're doing. I know where you are.
I'm going to take credit. But I can't. You know who that belongs to.
That's the Don. That's the
Don. That's right.
So she does a fantastic job, and
she does.
You guys together make a great pair. So thanks for all that you do, Allan, to make this world and sharing your heart
Thank
with
you,
us.
my friend.
I also want to give a shout out to the sound and tech crew, Camilo and Sandra, for working on soundcheck every night.
Hey, hey.
If you mention they're also open for business, so if you mention one of their dogs, Oreo or Maui, they'll give you a discount. So if you're a musician out there needing mixing and mastering services, check them out.
Oh.
And that is that. I also want to talk about tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we have some great artists. We have the great Edmar Castañeda, who will be playing jazz harp. That will be show number 50. No, show number 50. So we should get a cake or something. We've been aging fast here, last month or so. So show number 50, and then this weekend we have some great musicians. We have the great Linda Briseño, who will be doing a show, and then also Regina Carter and Joey Alexander on Monday. So a great lineup. Christian Jacob. So we're trying to book them as fast as we can and get the music out there. So stay with us, 10 p.m. Eastern every single night, and stay well, stay safe, and stay home. Good night, everyone.